Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. That's what we do here every single day. Our quote for the day: the best weight you'll ever lose is the weight of other people's opinions. That is from our guest today, Alyssa Goodman. Heal Squad, you are in for a treat today. Alyssa Goodman has been on the show many times. It's been a while. I love having her on because she is just so smart and has figured out how to conquer so many things health-wise in her life. And now she spends her life helping others do the same. So today we are focusing on a few things with her. Celiac disease for one. So if you or someone you love is suffering with celiac disease, this is hopefully going to give you a lot of information that will help you in that area. Rebuilding and restoring your gut, how mindset and nerves can play into how you tolerate food, and just overall getting control of our health. So I'm super excited to have her on here. The genesis of this episode and this whole celiac discussion started when a friend that I have, his name is AC, was really struggling with his newly diagnosed celiac disease. And I said, oh, we'll find somebody. We'll find whoever the expert is, and we'll bring them on. And so, Kelsey, I feel like Alyssa is one of maybe a few that we've found, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really love Alyssa because she had it and she cured herself of it. And so I really like, she's going to have a different take, right? Because she's been through the trenches with it. But yeah, she's one of a couple that I found and I was like, cool, let's get all of their takes on it.
When you say she cured herself of it, that means she no longer has a disease and can eat bread?
So I don't know about if she can eat bread, but she told me that she cured herself, but she also is saying that it can go into remission. So I need to ask her those questions. We need to ask her those questions because I'm curious. I've never heard of it being cured. I thought you had it for life. So yeah, these are things that
you do. So I think it's more of she is in remission, and we're going to find out exactly how. But if anybody thinks that they've cured themselves of this, then I'm curious to know more. So in the meantime, before we get into our conversation with Alyssa, have you shopped my curated page at Macy's.com/better together yet? We've been adding new picks there. I'm about to enjoy my sarong for the first time in LA. I decided.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I had it here in Connecticut thinking I was going to enjoy it, and then ended up going to shoot the movie. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm going to pack it and bring it to LA, and then I'll wear it there. I also ordered the lioness skirt that I've been really, really loving. So I've got a few things on there that I've been excited to wear because I have some shoots coming up, and I was like, I need some cute outfits.
Some fun things. Yeah, I love, honestly, our page because it's just such an eclectic mix of, you get on there, it's like, I don't know if I want some clothes or if I want something for my house or I want some makeup or maybe a candle. I don't know. So it's really fun. I love Macy's. They got it all.
Well, I'll tell you, we used our Anastasia eyebrow gel, the pot that I bought from Macy's.com /better together. And it was great on the movie. So we used that the whole time. And wait, did you tell me that my new tanner is on there as well?
Yes, and I added it.
Perfect. So friends, I know I loved Isle of Paradise, but now I have a new tanning product that is even better. Now, maybe I haven't found the perfect moisturizer to blend with Isle of Paradise because I get brown spots everywhere. Maybe I haven't exfoliated enough before because you really do need to exfoliate every time you do these. But I'm going to tell you this Vita Liberata stuff, it's on there, is like this hydrating serum, and it's a tanner. And I used it on the movie, and it was so bomb. It really gives like a nice tan, but also is like good, healthy stuff for your skin. It's clean. So you might like it better. I don't know if you tried it yet, Kelsey.
No, I haven't tried it yet, but I was looking at it and it was, because you said it's a serum too. So I'm like, I'm sure it's more hydrating. So I'm into that because I get spotty too.
Finish out your Isle of Paradise and then you can try it.
From our Macy's.com page.
Yeah. Yes. So
Beautiful.
some new products on there, friends. And as you know, anytime you order through our landing page, Macy's.com/better together, we are credited for that. So whether you end up buying the Vita Liberata or the Sarong or any of the stuff, or you find something on there that you want that's not a part of our list, it really helps support the show, and we're grateful. Anne Sleeman, shout out to Anne. She was going somewhere fancy with her Macy's outfit that she bought on site. I was like, you need to give us pictures. So if any of you have ordered things, tag us in some pictures and we'll retweet you, so we can see all the fabulousness going on out there. Anyhow, I think we need to get into this. Alyssa Goodman, friends, she is a holistic nutritionist, bestselling author. In her 30s, she was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, and celiac disease. I'm feeling so much better about myself just hearing the list. Well, because a lot of us we have lists. Mm-hmm. And it gets really depressing and really overwhelming. So she came to realize that in addition to medical treatment, her body needed other things, nourishment and love. Her chronic stress, past trauma, perfectionism, feelings of not being good enough, poor sleep, and more contributed to her state of disease. Today, Alyssa is cancer, hypothyroidism, Hashimoto's, and celiac free. And she feels better than ever. She looks amazing. She's always super vibrant. And she works with thousands of clients to manage various health issues through diet, lifestyle, and emotional methodologies. So, Heal Squad, get ready to heal with Alyssa Goodman. We'll be right back. Alyssa, as I was reading your intro and I was going through the list of ailments that you have overcome, I instantly found really quick inspiration because a lot of us, even if we're trying and doing all the right things, sometimes there are things that have accumulated from the past that are now catching up, even if you started a new program this last year or whatever. So I was like, oh, I don't feel as bad. Like this can be fixed. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited to share with people how you've been able to heal yourself of all of these things. And we've talked about it in other episodes. And then really dive into celiac, because I have a friend who was recently diagnosed and he was really struggling. And I said, I'm going to find the expert for you. I had no idea that you had overcome celiac, and we need to understand what that really means for people and how you did it. But you're inspiring, because anything God has thrown your way, well, we don't want to blame God. Anything life has thrown your way, you've tackled and healed yourself. And so I think we could probably start with kind of the broad strokes. I mean, you beat cancer, you beat so many things.
And it's weird, Maria, because I think I always say this on your show, like I feel lucky and blessed to get these ailments. I mean, no one else, I don't want them for other people, but no one else would say that. But because I do what I do, I get to know deep down what it's like to feel the feelings of having cancer and the scariness of it, or getting an autoimmune disease, and thinking that was going to be with me forever. And the celiac too, with all the digestive issues. And like, that's not fun because I love food. Remember insomnia? I think years ago when I was on your show, I had some insomnia. Oh my God. But now I'm so glad because I've gotten through them. And well, I'm an Aries too. I'm determined. How some of us are I'm determined to get to the other side. That's always been my personality and my style. And I guess I've just translated it to the, health and wellness area for me, and then just knowing you can relate to this. There's something about knowing the universe has your back. Like you're going to be okay. At the end of the day. Yeah, we go through shit and we get these ailments, and, I just had COVID as well. But I always feel at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay. And I can exhale into the fact of, I will get through this and the universe has my back.
So, but in the moment when something is happening, I know for me, I've had different experiences where, like, when I had the brain tumor, I just kind of laughed because I was like, okay, this is just insane. That didn't knock me down. But other things have knocked me down where I've gotten super down and super like, oh my gosh, this is just, this is really hard and really frustrating. So in the moment, are you able to see that the universe has your back, or does it take a second to get there? Because I feel like for me, it takes a second to get there. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I got it. I remember.
Oh yeah, definitely. Takes a second to get there. I definitely freak out and go into like downward spiral.
Especially when you've had so many things.
Yeah.
Because it's like another one.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Exactly. No, I'm not always that calm and cool and collect. I definitely spiral and reach out to all my functional doctors or people that that support me. And I'm like, what's happening now? So, but as time goes on, I just that it's that determination that I'm going to get past it. So
certain things, I mean, funny enough, with cancer, we've heard stories of people beating cancer, right?
Yeah.
But we don't really hear people beating Hashimoto's. We don't really hear people beating celiac. So how does that happen?
That we should start hearing more about it, very much so, because people are, you just have to commit again to really, lowering inflammation in your body, building immunity. I mean, these things aren't hard to get back on track. They actually go into remission. So you don't get rid of it completely. Of course, like cancer, they go into remission, celiac and the Hashimoto's. So you can get your antibodies down, same with the celiac. But all you really need to do, I don't want to make it sound so simple, but it really isn't that hard, is to really know what to do to lower inflammation, whether it be taking out all that crappy food that potentially you eat, or processed food, or the gluten, the dairy, the sugar that we talk about all the time. It's sort of a broken record, and adding really anti-inflammatory foods back into your diet. But what I have found, I've become a supplement junkie, and I love really high quality supplements. I'm very biased in terms of the brands and everything I use, but I'm very much into, using high quality supplements to lower inflammation. And they're like curcumin, and knowing the dosages, and omega-3s and knowing those dosages, and making sure your vitamin D levels are at a certain level these days, because integrative doctors optimally want your D to be 60 to 80 ml on the blood work, where in the old days, it was around 50 was okay. So when you start to really go to an optimal place with all of that, supplement wise, food, also, looking at blood work and seeing what's going on, everything can change. So it definitely you're going to hear more about remission for these, because I'm bound and determined to get people past the issues. And there's issues. Celiac, is of course, an autoimmune for the intestines and the gut. And what you need to do is really build it up with probiotics. We're all low on beneficial bacteria, which is really important. And making sure you get the right probiotic, of course, there's a lot of controversy on that. Then also L-Glutamine is an amino acid that helps with rebuilding your small intestinal, rebuilding and making that lining super strong. And bone broth or a collagen powder is great for rebuilding the gut. There's a lot of great things. There's a lot of, along with the curcumin and omega-3s, and there's Tulsi Tea is one of my favorites. It's an adaptogen, holy basil, and Tulsi lowers inflammation in your intestines like crazy. So and it's a tea that tastes good. There's so many fun, simple things that you can incorporate into your daily regime to get this thing, into where it needs to be for remission.
So when you're in remission with celiac, can you eat bread again?
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Wait, so hold the phone. Alyssa, you're able to go eat pasta and things like that?
I am able to eat pasta. I am able to eat pizza, by the way. I love pasta and pizza, girl. I could not do without, being able to do that. Yes. Yeah. So there's also a really cool enzyme that breaks down gluten. So Enzymedica makes it. It's called Glutenease. And so I do take an enzyme before I eat this stuff or afterwards, but I am able to do it. Yeah.
So how long did it take you to get your celiac into remission?
A long time, because in the day that I had it, I was in my 30s. I had my first daughter at, I think it was 35. And then I got Hashimoto's from having my child, because I had hypo and then it turned into Hashi. And then it took about 4 years to get the doctor to properly diagnose me with Hashimoto's. Now they know how to do that. They didn't in those days. And then I had celiac too. So I was having all kinds of digestive issues at the time, and bloating and constipation. I mean, all kinds of digestive and headaches and brain fog, and, I didn't really correlate it with the gluten. And then finally I did a poop sample test, and I found out that I had very high levels of, antibodies for celiac. That's very normal when you have another autoimmune disease, by the way. So if you do, and you're having all kinds of digestive issues, it's a great idea to get checked for celiac if you have other rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, Hashimoto's, Graves, all that stuff. But it took like 10 years, but I wouldn't say today would take me 10 years. It wouldn't, but I just didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. Well, it's an experiment. You were the guinea pig in a sense, and there's more things out in the market probably. So Absolutely. If you had to do it today, how long do you think?
Oh my God. I think you could do it in months. Seriously. I think you can get those antibodies down because you just focus on, again, lowering inflammation, rebuilding your immune system. And we know so much today. Taking those foods out of your diet for a while till you heal. And then you can add them back in. You're not going to eat them every day. You're not going to be able to go back to that. Because the bummer is the gluten-free craze that's happened, as you know, Maria, is there's a lot of shit in the gluten-free foods. Just like there's a lot of crap in the, vegan foods like Impossible Burgers and those,
yes.
meats. And those are worse for you sometimes. So that's what bums me out a little bit. I know you say you're gluten intolerant, you're celiac, then they go eat all this crappy food, and it's not the way to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That's really exciting. I want to cry for my friend because I'm like, when you hear you can never eat any of these things again, it's hard for people.
I know.
So will you tell us a little bit about what celiac is? And it's interesting when you said, if you have other autoimmune conditions, you should pay attention for this, because it sounds like almost like one person infiltrates the party and then the other ones come along, all the friends, unfortunately. And if you're not doing the things you need to do, all of a sudden they've taken over. And
right. They're not really friends, as you know. They're not friends you want. But it really is when your immune system's compromised, very much so, with all of these autoimmune issues. And when you have a lot of inflammation happening in your system, but it is an inflammatory response to gluten. And your body just attacks your small intestinal lining and, cells in there. So in a nutshell, that's what celiac is. And I know I came into the world with a low immune system. So I kind of had a lot of health issues growing up. So it's not surprising that, I encountered all these issues later in life and earlier too, but no one knew what they were. But when your immune system is compromised, and that even means when you're stressed or you have trauma that you've been working on, because that compromises your immune system, whether it be death or divorce, or even, we talk about this before, even friends that aren't slight you, you go into sort of a traumatic place, or business isn't going well. And then, just eating processed food, not sleeping well, and really not having a practice of de-stressing. When you're in fight or flight mode consistently, your immune system is already down-regulated consistently. So we're finding that that's huge. And then we've talked about this before, which I kind of am like a soul believer in, because it changed my life about 4 years ago, is self-love. I was brought up like nothing was ever good enough. I was never going to, get to that bar where I was going to be happy even with myself. And that to-do list was always a mile long, never completed it. It was just all, but I never really, and I never put myself first. Everybody else came first. And once I finally realized, when I had the insomnia, that I had to really, where was the self-love? Where was like that part where I could be like, oh my God, I am important here. I come first, not in an ego way, or not, to not take care of the kids or the, fiance or the clients or whatever. But first and foremost, I'm not going to be able to take care of them unless I'm good and well and whole. And I never knew what that was until 4 years ago. And once I found that self-love, I was able to exhale, and that de-stressing was easier for me.
How did you find it, Alyssa?
Well, I did some plant journeys. I did psilocybin. I was having massive insomnia at the time. And I tried everything in terms of, melatonin and all the supplements. And I did hypnotherapy and every like acupuncture, nothing worked. And I did one plant ceremony, psilocybin journey. And that journey, I could see that everything was going to be okay. And I saw that I was going to be okay. My girls were going to be okay. I never felt we were with everything that had gone on. And then I realized then my shaman started talking to me about self-love and do you love yourself? I'm like, no, what does that look like? I don't even know what that feels like. And that was what really changed for me. And then I continued to like further do some more so I could dig deeper into letting go the trauma of the fact that I was never trained to love myself. That was not a good thing in my family. That was an ego thing. If you love yourself. So there was, they didn't realize how important that was for self-healing and health.
Yeah. Well, none of us are trained for that. That's right. What we talk about here all the time. Like we're not trained for that. So, it's a really important part of the journey. And I wonder, is psilocybin the same as ayahuasca?
No, it's different. It's a different plant medicine. So
got it.
Psilocybin's the mushrooms. You hear a lot about that with Michael Pollan, but I know he talks about ayahuasca too. I had done ayahuasca as well, but I didn't love it as much. But there's so many plant medicines out there these days. But for me, because I had a lot of anxiety and more anxiety than depression, so that wasn't good for the celiac or the hashimoto's or my thyroid condition or my insomnia or any of that. So I had to really start to deal with it. I didn't want to take anti-anxiety medication. It never made me feel good. I felt numb and dull and, it wasn't me. So psilocybin is just, they're doing so many studies these days. I've just seen miraculous results for people with cancer. And I think it's so helpful for even these autoimmune conditions. Because I think if we can believe, I ask all my autoimmune people, even people with celiac or Hashimoto's or Graves or, lupus even, do you believe you can get past this? Do you actually believe that you can, get beyond this health issue? 9 out of 10 people say no.
Yeah. Well, because we don't see that example.
Right.
I've been doing Dr. Joe Dispenza this whole year. So like my life's completely changed with that. And I believe in my full body healing and I see it all happening in real time, but I know why the everyday person doesn't and how emotional it is because when a doctor says you're going to have this for life, you believe the doctor.
Right.
And so I wonder after you did the psilocybin, what were the practical applications of self-love? Like, how did you actively engage in these practices? Like, what are the examples you can share with us?
Yeah. And by the way, Joe is like incredible, incredible, right? Isn't he an incredible human being?
The best.
I met him like 10 years ago and I was like, okay, this is the real deal here. Talk about, all these practices put into place. But really it was my shaman wrote down everything I said during the journey. And so the amazing thing is I get to go back to, the feeling of what I felt during the journey of the self-love was incredible. And there was something that happened during that first journey where I had so much like energy in between my hands. And he's like, put it on the place where you need to heal. And this is when I was still having thyroid issues as well. And I wasn't on thyroid medication, but my thyroid wasn't doing well. And I stuck it on my neck, on my thyroid, that energy. And honestly, it sounds so woo-woo and so LA, by the way, but my thyroid went back into alignment after that. It was so wild. So, wow. But the self-love is, every day I write down things in my journal about, at night, I write down what I'm grateful for the day, really, to take account of what I've accomplished. In the morning, I'm constantly like, what do I love about myself type of things all the time, little things, just again, it's kind of the accomplishment story. But for some reason, during those journeys, I was able to imprint and really tap into my heart. And now every day when I'm in a stressful scenario or something's not going right, I can take a deep breath and sit back and like tap back in, like I say to myself, think even Mel Robbins says this, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved. And when I do that, everything just chills out, calms down. I think more of us need those kind of practices or whatever it takes to like just get you back in your body. I always say planted, and get you back in your heart space, because we come from this heady space. Didn't do anything for me, that heady space, but the heart space does everything.
Yeah.
It was
I love
funny
that because, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say my daughter was having an issue with some friends, and I said to her, this might sound weird to you to go into this scenario, but go in with your heart leading into the experience with maybe a disruption with a friend, that you say to yourself, I love you. Just with that heart, it disarms people like crazy when you're in that heart space, but it's also an incredible space for you to be in because it's also taking care of you and, just really making sure that you're not in a fight or flight mode.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love writing down the things that you love about yourself, because I've said this before too. Why are we waiting for other people to tell us who we are when we know who we are, right? We're constantly looking for affirmation. Like, can you tell me I'm a nice person? Because we don't know that. Like, I know I'm a nice person. Why do I need to hope somebody's going to tell me that? Right? We talk about being seen and what a gift it is to see people, but we need to see ourselves.
First and foremost. I mean, I think that is the way to healing, and all of the cancer and autoimmune and, all of it across the board. We are so capable of healing, and we're so capable of doing anything. We were brought in this earth and this planet, and we're strong and, just like really do know what we need for each of us. We each know what we want and need in our life. I mean, it's one thing for me to tell you, oh, you should do X, Y, Z, but maybe you don't maybe it isn't something that it really attracts to what you need. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to it, we all know what we need. And our gut instincts tell us every time, exactly what is happening. Even if we eat a food and it doesn't agree with we know what food doesn't agree with us, right? But we just don't tap in, and we just don't think we have that capability, but we are so powerful.
Well, and I think we look at everyone else, like, because I've done this too, where I look at other people, I'm like, well, how come they can eat all that shit and I can't? Right. And I get so mad, like in that moment, I'm like, well, I can too. And then I started thinking, okay, well, let's go into their lives. Maybe they can't, but they're doing it despite, and they're just tanking their health more. So why do we look at everybody else and what they're doing and think we're all supposed to be able to do the same things when we don't, and we're not supposed to? But for the ailments that we've talked about with you, whether it's the cancer, the Hashimoto's, the celiac, what did you specifically do food-wise? Because I want to give people a roadmap.
Okay.
Food-wise, like what are anti-inflammatory foods? What are the foods that are going to be good and build you back up? Because I agree, when at some point I was doing the vegan stuff or the this is and the that's, I'm like, I think this is worse than, because what are these ingredients? I don't know what any of these things mean. Right. So I stopped all of that. But there are some times where I think like, well, don't we need some dairy? Like if we cut dairy completely out, is that even a good thing? I don't know. So you, I know, are constantly checking your blood, constantly looking at levels. So tell us what we're supposed to be doing and not supposed to be doing.
And with that blood, it's interesting when you have celiac, one thing that is important to do other than testing, where you're at in the scale of antibodies for celiac, but is to test for nutrient deficiencies, because that's huge, because it's all kinds of disruption in your gut. You're not going to be absorbing the nutrients if you have celiac or even Hashimoto's or a lot of these autoimmune diseases. So I love nutrient deficiency tests because they tell you exactly iron deficient, zinc deficient, selenium deficient. So they can be. But
your regular doctor isn't doing those tests.
Your regular doctors can. They can. They just don't want to, but they can. You can give them.
What specifically should you ask for?
So it's a nutrient deficiency test. It's just an overall, like all the doctors know about it, by the way, Maria. I do send blood work like identification to clients what I want them to ask for. But they do, every doctor knows how to do a nutrient deficiency test. They just, for some reason, insurance doesn't pay, you know how that goes. And then they don't do it. But it's also a great thing, even if you don't have any kind of immune, response to things, because just you can change one thing. Like I have a lot of people with CoQ10 deficient. That's an energy enzyme, and then magnesium and all this stuff. So they'll start taking it instead of just throwing a lot of supplements at them, and it's life changing. So it's pretty cool. But a lot of people
Will you give us a copy.
Yeah.
Give us a copy of that test we can put out for everybody to have. This way they can be like, I want all of these.
Yeah, I'll totally give it to you. But in terms of anti-inflammatory, it is, not rocket science here. It's really, taking away as much as we can the processed food, because we know they're bad oils and fillers and all that crap in it. Dairy is probably the number one thing that is hard on our digestive tract. Now that's cow dairy. Cow dairy has 2 casein molecules that are very hard to break down. So I'd say sheep and goat only have 1 casein molecule, so easier on the system. So my cheese lovers, I try to get them to move over to goat and feta.
Is that the A2 casein that we're supposed to have?
Yeah.
That's what I started on.
Exactly. So then, we have been sold a bill of goods about dairy and calcium and all of that. So it isn't so great on our bones when, you've drank a lot of milk growing up. And then just as cows have a lot of hormones and antibiotics in them. And it also takes about 14 hours for like cheese and dairy to get through your small intestine. It's a lot of hours to get through there and get processed. So bottom line, it's the processed food, it's the dairy, just watching. It's, of course, what's happened with gluten. You go to Europe and there's gluten in their products, but we don't react to it. Even people with celiac can go have pasta, pizza there, right? It's so wild, but they grow their wheat differently than we do, as well as we add more gluten to our wheat so we can make our pasta and our croissants and our bagels bigger and fluffier. That's what makes them, sort of grow. So it's a bummer. And we just eat too much wheat here. We've overdone it as well as they be cleaner sources. Maybe they don't overdo it as much as we do. So, and then added sugars are just so inflammatory for the system. As we know, they make your cells acidic. They sort of, increase insulin and blood sugar, as you can imagine. And then the anti-inflammatory stuff, of course, is all the vegetables, the fruits and vegetables. That's where all the vitamins and minerals and antioxidants are. And the herbs like curcumin and just, all the rosemary and basil and ginger and, all those beautiful, just real foods are very anti-inflammatory, and green tea is anti-inflammatory. So it's a lot of, just eating like real and, wild salmon and wild fish is great because it has the omega-3s, which is strongly anti-inflammatory, or white fish. It's trying to go to a whole food diet, eating real food as much as you can. It's hard these days, but, as much as you can. That's why I created the soup cleanse, as you know, with all the soups and the salads, and you're getting over 50 different vegetables in 5 days, which is kind of unheard of for people because you're getting a variety, you're getting a rainbow of colors, and that doesn't always happen with the diet, but it's super anti-inflammatory.
Yeah. Oh my God. Your soup cleanse is so yummy. I wonder, do you believe in the nightshade issue? Or I know Dr. Gundry talks about something that's in like peppers. I can't remember the word now.
Yeah. The seeds.
Lectins.
It's lectins.
Lectins. Yes.
Yeah. And peppers and cucumbers and tomatoes. And
so we can't eat those?
Legumes and beans. I don't believe in it. So I'm not a believer in Dr. Gundry's protocol. But that being said, if you're having serious digestive issues, IBS, or your celiac is acting up, you want to watch what's agreeing with you and what isn't agreeing with you. But that's taking a lot of great foods out of your diet, a lot of good vegetables. Also, tomatoes have lycopene. There's just so many things in a lot of these vegetables, as well as legumes and beans, which I find amazing for fiber, because you really do want to eat enough fiber so you clean out those intestines as well. You don't want food hanging out. If you have celiac, you don't want food hanging out and fermenting in there along with the celiac and the fermentation of food. That's not a good thing. So fiber is crucial for that, to move it through the small intestine. And that's with the legumes and beans, but he doesn't believe in that, even if you soak them. And that's the Mediterranean diet. I mean, that's a diet that's kind of been around forever. I love that diet. So, I think there was one incident that happened with me I love eggplant, and I was eating a lot.
I had some today. It was so good from the garden.
Right. From your garden. So I was eating eggplant all the time. Loved it. Ended up having a vegan eggplant, Parmesan. And after I ate that, I had serious brain fog. Like, I couldn't even function, wouldn't even remember your name. I'd be sitting there going, who, like, in front of you. And I realized that it wasn't good for me. So I did take a break from it for 6 months and have gone back, and I'm fine. I seem to be fine now, but it's, I had eaten a lot of it. So I think I had built up a food intolerance a bit to it. Wow. So you can watch those things. I have the same thing with cashews. I'll eat a handful of cashews and I'll have this swelling happen under my eyes, or cashew cheese, because I love cashew cheese and cashew ice cream. And the next day I look terrible. So you just have to be careful, so I just overdo those things. And that's what happens too. We overdo the food.
So if you have Hashimoto's or celiac and you want to heal yourself, I mean, I know going cold turkey is really, really hard for people, but the more of this they implement, the faster they can get to healing, right? And so
absolutely.
What else do they have to do? Like, if they were on your protocol, so you'd clean out the diet, then what else?
Yeah, clean up the diet. Then I would really put them on, of course, a gluten enzyme to make sure, they break down that gluten. There's a certain enzyme molecule in this Enzymedica Ease that I love that really helps with breaking down gluten. So definitely that is first and foremost. Then we want to rebuild their microbiome, rebuild their gut, and put them on a really strong probiotic. So 100, 200 billion, 300 billion. I love to do a probiotic supplement and also probiotic foods. So there's a bunch of probiotics I love these days. Genuine Health has a great one because it doesn't have to be refrigerated. And it's Advanced Gut Health at 50 billion. I've kind of been promoting that a lot, but I love to switch up my probiotics every 3 months. I love that. Then I have my clients, there's an inner eco drink that 1 tablespoon of this drink is 100 billion probiotics. So what I have them do, they can even not have do a capsule. They can get up and do a 2-ounce shot of this drink, and they get 200 billion food-based probiotics.
Oh my gosh, you have to send us pictures of all this. We're going to put it all in the summary of this for everybody who's listening, because they're going to want everything.
It's so great. It's so easy. I love food-based probiotics more than pills, because when you have celiac, it's hard to break down the capsules as well. Your gut isn't working so well. Or GTS kombucha, that kombucha line, Synergy, they've been around forever. They make a coconut yogurt that is delicious, unsweetened. And a half a cup of that, which is a small half a cup, is 100 billion too. So
Kevin needs that.
Yes. I just throw blueberries in there, half a cup. It's a great snack, or it's a great breakfast if you eat breakfast. I mean, between those two things, those are powerful. So I actually have them try to do that as often as possible, or do the probiotic as well, because you can't get enough probiotics. And then I put them on L-Glutamine, the amino acid that helps rebuild the lining of the gut and the intestines. It's like 500 milligrams at a minimum, or up to 3 grams, depending. You could throw this powder, L-Glutamine, in a smoothie. So easy to do. Cancer people are on it because that helps protect their gut lining when they're doing chemo. So I do that. I mean, and if somebody loves bone broth, right now there's a bone broth that I get from New York City, from Brodo, Brodo. And it's the real thing. You open up, it tastes so good too. You open it up, there's gelatinous collagen in there. You can see the collagen, chicken or beef. I do the chicken, and I have a cup of that. It's so incredible for celiac. I did that for a couple of years. I know that helped. The L-glutamine and the bone broth totally helped me heal my celiac. So,
Wow.
and then I'll put them on curcumin, a really high quality liposomal curcumin. Thorne makes a great one. And then the omega-3s is powerful. And then sort of trickle in, like I was saying earlier, the Tulsi Tea is a no-brainer because it's great for stress levels. It balances your cortisol and adrenaline through the day. But on top of that, it lowers inflammation in your gut and in your intestines. So people love it because it tastes like tea. So it's keeping you hydrated, making sure you're getting enough fiber as well. These days, people don't realize how much fiber they need. And I just try to train them to do 30 grams at a minimum. And a lot of times that's like, what the hell is that? But you can easily get there with 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in your water, which is, 10 grams of fiber. A cup of raspberries is like 8.4 grams of fiber. Half of avocado is 9 grams of fiber. So you're already just with those 3 things very high up on the list. White beans or lentils or beans like the bean category can be anywhere from 8 to 9 grams for like a quarter cup. So it's and broccoli has high fiber. So you can get to 30 easily. And then that would be, does that sound hard to you? No, right?
No. But I think
know.
like a lot of us don't know, there's a lot to learn in nutrition. Yeah. And to know like which one is fiber, and also
I know
to be able to keep your blood sugar stable, technically, you have to make sure you're doing protein, carbs, and fiber, right? And fat.
Exactly.
Like you have to have a balance of all of those things.
Yeah.
It's,
what's happened these days is 10 years ago when I got into the business, there wasn't as much to know. It was now today, everybody's preaching a different, idea of what they think heals. So it's a lot to listen to, and it's a lot to go through and realize, what do you think works for you, or what would work for you? Everybody's preaching a different story. And like Dr. Gundry, there are parts of Dr. Gundry's protocol that are really good. Dr. Hyman is amazing, as like Lipman, and Dr. Will Cole. There's all these great functional doctors, and they're preaching these different protocols a little bit, maybe go up different protocols, but you got to really focus, like, what is right for me? It's overwhelming. That's what's happened. It's totally overwhelming. Mm-hmm. And I just want to tell you about one thing that's super exciting. You might not know about that you probably need to do a show on. It's the peptide. I just finished Tony Robbins' book, Life Force. And there's a whole chapter on there on, stem cells and peptides and immunotherapy. I'm just fascinated with it all. And there's a certain peptide that is amazing for healing celiac. It's called BPC 157. And it's a capsule that you can get through your doctor. And it's what it is. It's amino acids. So that emulate your amino acids, your body, almost, like bovine peptides, like the beef collagen craze. Now there are these peptides that really there's anti-aging ones, there's immune ones, and now there's one for IBS and celiac, which is that BPC 157. Whoa. So if someone really wants to jumpstart to the next, go to the next level with all this celiac stuff or digestive issues, that's something to look into.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So much hope in just one interview. Question.
Too much, right? I always I overkill you with all the information.
No, I love it. I love it because, it's hard. And, the thing is, and what we love talking about on the show is if you start making little baby step improvements every day in your life, if something is to hit, right, a disease is to hit, then you're kind of ahead of the game, right? So I quit sugar 2 years ago. I quit soda years before that. I quit, I'm constantly making improvements because I know as I get older, shit's, gonna maybe hit the fan and I want to be ready. I don't want to have to try to cut sugar at the worst possible time. I want to have already done that work, right? Or lessen my gluten intake. God forbid there's a celiac situation or whatever. the better we're eating. First of all, the less chance we're going to get sick. But then if we do, it isn't an overhaul. Because I think that's what happens. People get diagnosed with stuff and it's like, wait, my whole life has uprooted and changed. I can't go to the normal restaurants I was going to. I can't eat the same things. So for people who are in those overhaul moments, how do you guide them? I mean, you know, if you have celiac or you have diabetes or you have any of these kinds of conditions where diet is the most important thing, how do you teach people to start a new life? Are there meal prep tips that you have perhaps? Because I think that's really the only way. You go out to eat, you're getting sugar in your salad dressing, even if you're eating a salad. You're getting dairy in everything. You're getting, you know, bad gluten in everything. It's hard to eat out.
Yeah. Eating out is still hard. I mean, I have to say that's a tricky one, you know, because you don't know the oils they're using. You're right. You don't know, you know, what the gluten intake and some of this stuff. I mean, even in soy, you know, there's gluten in soy sauce. I mean, you don't know where it's hidden. Eating out is tricky. I still find with the healthy restaurants, it's hard to do here in LA even. But yeah, I feel like what I can train the clients to do is to take hold of their control of their health at home. And if they're going to go out, yeah, they're going to get some bad oils or gluten, or they're going to get that stuff in their diet, and to not stress about it. That's the biggest thing. Do not stress. Yeah, maybe you might not feel good, but maybe you might be okay. Okay. So the next day you come home and you're eating at home, you're in more control. That's just how it's going to work. So with the
because then you're a double loser. You've eaten stuff that's unhealthy and you've added stress. The stress is going to kill and make you sick too.
Totally. Yeah. We've got to get into a place of, okay, no, we're going to eat out or we're going to go to a friend's house and maybe it's not going to be so healthy, but how can I not eat what they're serving me? Right. So we've got to try to learn how to relax a little bit with all of it and not be so hyper focused. But at home, it's easy. Well, it's not always easy to train clients to redo their diet. But honestly, Maria, in 5 days, when people take out sugar and watch their added sugar and take out gluten and take out dairy just for 5 days or any processed food, they are different people. I mean, I feel like anybody can do something for 5 days. If I can get them to commit to 5 days and then like check in with them on that. Let's say they start on Monday, check in with them on Friday. And I'm like, so how you feeling? And they're like, oh my God, my digestion is working. I'm sleeping better. Or, you know, I'm pooping regularly. Like, I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And, you know, and my energy's better. My like brain fog is a little better. I mean, maybe it's not great, and then they're like, holy crap, I want to feel like this ongoing. So then it's a lot of fun to like, you know, teach them. I mean, I love intermittent fasting. It's not for everybody, but I feel like that is a great way to, you know, also help people move food and through their small intestine, is to wait that 14 to 16 hours to eat and just have 2 meals if possible. Like I said, it doesn't work for everybody, but then I just train them like do a plant-based meal for lunch, lots of vegetables, try to go for that salad as much as possible. But if not, you know, if it's out to eat, it's a salad pre your lunch or it's a salad for lunch, but try to get vegan protein on that salad, you know, for the fiber, and try to get as many vegetables in. And nighttime you can have, you know, with the family, you can have animal protein, vegetables, salad, side salad, you know, and some complex carbs, whether it be sweet potato or brown rice. But it sounds so basic, right? That's what it's all about, is just try to get the cleanest sources, try to go organic, to not get pesticides, you know, clean meats and fish. Try to not overdo your animal protein because it's hard to digest when you are having these health issues, or take an enzyme before you eat the animal protein so it's easier to digest. So people are like, really? I could just, you know, do that. And that doesn't seem so overwhelming for people.
What's a vegan protein?
That's legumes and beans and quinoa, you know, that whole, and tempeh and tofu and edamame. It's just, you know, it just depends on you though. There's so many philosophies with protein consumption, because I feel like I'm 62 and I need more protein as I age. Because I think we need amino acids, right?
Wait, guys,
we need protein.
Alyssa, what did you just say?
I'm 62.
All of our jaws are on the floor.
Oh my God.
What?
I know. And I mean, I'm on to the pro aging. Like that's, I never felt good growing up. So, and I feel better now. I say this to you that I did when I was 30.
You might be the biggest shock I've ever had when someone's told me my age. I don't think anyone's ever shocked me more.
Thank you. That's a compliment. Thank you. That makes my week, by the way. So yeah, I mean, I need more protein. So I am trying to get more protein into my diet because, we lose muscle mass and tissue. We need tissue repair as we age. My face is getting skinnier and skinnier. So it just depends like what's going on with the client, if they want to lose weight or where they're at with their age. And maybe they need animal protein, both meals too. So, but again, just going clean sources.
What are the best sources of protein then for you, animal and non-animal?
Yeah, I mean, I eat a lot of legumes and beans. And by the way, with celiac, they don't really agree with you. It's like they're very disruptive. But, when you soak them and you take an enzyme or you eat them more often, your body will get used to them. So mine now, I have no issues with them at all. But for a while, it was touch and go. You just start slow and you build up. But there's so much fiber in legumes and beans. It's incredible. And nowadays, I talk about this with my clients, going once a day, fully eliminating is considered constipated. So we're supposed to go 2 and 3 times a day. And they're like, oh my God, Alyssa, really? I know. We get up and we have our coffee, we go to the bathroom. We're all so happy. Like but that's constipated. We need to get food through our system.
Well, that's like our dogs. Yes. You feed them, they poop.
Yeah,
they poop
that's what we're supposed to do.
Wait, so how are we to poop more? Is there something we should be doing?
Yes. There's just 2 things you need to be doing. Well, sleep is very important for helping us poop more. Just because when we rest, our body is able to move things through and we're detoxing through the night. Magnesium is a big thing. Take before bed. Always take magnesium is crucial because it helps also with the pooping. Then the water content. We don't drink enough water. We don't get minerals in our water. Minerals are like magnesium, potassium, manganese, iodine, sodium, all those things. And so a lot of times you can use a hydrating powder. I love this one called Ultima Replenisher. It's sweetened with a little stevia. So some people love it, some people don't, but I dilute it and I drink that every day. That helps. So I drink up to 90 ounces of water. So there are some really good brands of water out there, but most of them don't have what they say they do. Evian is great. Mountain Spring is great. They have some minerals in them. So we need water and then we need fiber. That's it. We need like up 30 to 50 grams of fiber. And I was telling you a little earlier, my cheat sheet of fiber options, fiber is just incredible. And that's where you get the plant-based protein. You have a salad with those leafy greens and some broccoli and avocado and legumes and throw some quinoa on there or hemp seeds, pumpkin seeds, and you're golden. That
what
really
is 30 to 50 grams of fiber look like? Is it 2 big scoops of hands, 3 big scoops of hands?
So I would say, it's a combination of things. If you did a cup, if you did a cup of, we wouldn't do a cup of beans because that's a lot, but if you did a half a cup of beans, you're already almost to 20 grams of fiber. Okay. And then, like I said, you do 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, you're at 10. So that's 30 right there. You do a cup of raspberries, you're at 8. So that, avocado, you're way over 50.
I'm going to start getting more raspberries and just picking on them through the
raspberries
day.
Are incredible, right? They're incredible. And avocado, just a half a cup, or maybe it's a quarter cup. It's a small amount. It's interesting. And
don't apples have a lot of fiber?
Apples have fiber, yeah, but not a ton, like maybe 4 grams for an apple. So yeah, but there's, it really is just kind of adding in a salad that has all of that is incredible. And, or the 2 tablespoons of chia seeds in a water during the day, just throwing those in with lemon is also incredible. That all helps you stay regular.
Wow. I did not know we were supposed to be eliminating that much.
I know. It's crazy. And what I was saying earlier, cow dairy takes 14 hours to go through the small intestine. Animal protein takes 14 hours. Small intestine is the length of a football field. Plant-based protein and plant-based eating takes 90 minutes.
Wow.
So that gives you an idea. That's why I like to vacillate between both, just because of that.
Before I let you go, I just thought of something that I should ask you for hubby, who has like 0 cortisol levels. His cortisol, when he wakes up, is just at 0 all day.
Wow. Really?
If anybody's struggling with cortisol, have you had success with that?
Yeah. I mean, and not exactly 0 cortisol levels.
I mean, it's not officially 0, but it's like he wakes up and it's flatlined.
Wow. It's bad. Now, I assume his adrenal fatigue? Is it like, do you know what's happening with his adrenals?
I thought they weren't that bad, but they must be.
Because cortisol, gets pumped out through those adrenals. So if his levels are low, that's interesting. I feel like his adrenals aren't really working so well. Adrenal fatigue is a very common thing that's happening to all of us because of the fight or flight mode stuff. For my adrenal fatigue, this might not be the situation for him. Does he have low blood pressure by chance or high? Does he have?
He definitely doesn't have high. He might be normal.
Normal. Yeah. Well, there's a licorice root extract is something I talk about a lot that I love. And licorice root extract actually is the number one thing to restore adrenals. So I wonder if he just needs some support for those adrenals so they can pump out the cortisol levels and get him back working if they're severely burned out. There's bovine adrenal supplements that are amazing, but I do 2 weeks on of a licorice root extract by Nature's Answer, alcohol-free, and then I do 2 weeks off. I learned that from the medical medium about 3 years ago. And he was saying I was so adrenally fatigued. And for some reason, I just can't wait. On my 2 weeks off of not using that licorice root, I'm like, just dragging my butt around a little bit. And I'm like, I can't wait to do the licorice root it could be a mind thing too. So, but yeah, it's a pretty cool supplement. You can look it up. Licorice root is incredible for adrenals. And I think because he needs to start pumping cortisol a little bit, get his course. Yeah. Usually my our cortisols are too high.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you had a book last time we were talking, you had a book that was going to come out. Did it come out already?
No, next year.
Because I know you have a whole thing on the thyroid in there. That was like,
that switched around it's called Pro Aging Hacks now.
Okay.
So it's
okay. Yeah, we'll wait for it to next year. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm excited. It's so fun. There's so much technology and so much cool stuff happening, as you could see. Mm-hmm. That even, I've been doing ozone because I got COVID and my fatigue has been pretty bad. So I've been doing ozone for that, which has been amazing. And people don't know a lot about ozone. And there's so much cool stuff that is happening. Are you doing red light therapy too? Love red light therapy. Yep. Love that. So
we'll have to have another session for all these other therapies, I guess then. Kelsey, did I miss anything super important?
I think my only question would be the difference between someone who's like intolerant, say, to gluten versus like someone who actually has like severe celiac. Because I know that, like, speaking for me, I know that it's like, I'm not celiac, but I am intolerant. Yeah. And I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that. And then also, is it something where it's like, if I cut out bread completely, am I making myself more intolerant? Is like that the wrong thing to do? So I feel like a lot of people are in that camp, and I would be interested to hear what you had to say.
Yeah, that's a great question. The intolerant to it is gluten is basically just you've overeaten it. Like I was saying earlier with the nightshades or the eggplant, it's just that you've overdone it. When you take it out, your body has a chance to heal and to, like you aren't always, it's an overactive immune system when you're intolerant as well. So you get a chance to calm down that overreaction to the gluten. And the celiac is different because it's antibodies it's cytokines that are sent out to destroy tissue. It's a very different scenario, but intolerance is taking it out, and also doing the same things that I talked about is also great for intolerance as well. But mostly when you take gluten out of your diet, your intolerance goes away. After, like, I would say
Cool.
6 months is what I do with most of my clients when they're intolerant to corn or to wheat or to, gluten or to nightshades.
And then you just like slowly start adding it back in.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't make you more intolerant.
Cool. Thank you.
And just build up that immune system, and just make sure your gut is working healthy with probiotics, enzymes, or vitamin D is so crucial and magnesium for your gut protocol as well. Things like that.
So cool. Thank you. Okay, wait, I actually do have one more question, but this is a selfish question because I do the GTS yogurt and I love it so much because that's where I get my probiotics. Is the vanilla bad because it has the stevia? Or are you okay with stevia?
I'm okay with stevia.
Okay, great. Good to know. Yeah. So you're good with the stevia and the monk fruit and those sort of like alternative sweeteners. Okay.
Yeah, I am.
Love it.
Oh my God. The stevia, you know what? I was against all things that were natural for a minute.
Yeah.
And I had someone make me chia pudding on the movie set and they used stevia. And I go, oh my God, this tastes like a dessert now. I'm totally in with a little stevia.
I know. Yeah. Just don't overdo it also. And also don't use Truvia because it isn't true stevia, that Truvia brand. Just use 100% stevia. It doesn't create any more bad bacteria in your gut. It doesn't, so that's what's great about it. Monk fruit does, but I still love the sweetener because it's not as inflammatory.
Got it. Well, I am super, super grateful for this. And I think, Kelsey, we should probably, in our next newsletter, share all of these tips. Like we'll organize it and you can approve it and send us the things, we'll put it together and then we'll share with everybody because these are really, really huge tips. We'll also share everything in the summary of this episode so you guys can have all the different supplements she was sharing as well so that you guys can get on your healing path. Of course, if you want to know more about Alyssa, you can go to her website, ElissaGoodman.com. We'll put that in the summary as well as her Instagram handle. And until next time,
Thank you. Thank you.
I am so inspired and so excited for anyone who's dealing with Hashimoto's or even more specifically celiac to know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I can't wait to send this episode to my friend.
I know. She had so many amazing tips. Like, even if you don't have that, right? It's like incorporating, I have my list, incorporating your fiber, your L-glutamine, your magnesium. Like, it's just, she's chock full of, I feel like, simple solutions too. It's nothing too complex. And that's what I really love about her. So that was so great. So great.
Me too. I love when there's hope, when there's, in the traditional system, they don't really give you a lot of hope. But I also think that, it's kind of up to us to seek it out. And she's the one that's giving it to us today. So I'm really grateful. Before we wrap, I want to read a review. We've been getting so many amazing reviews and we're so grateful for them. They definitely keep us going. Helping me heal from Miss Layla. I've followed Maria for a few years, ever since I found out we both had meningiomas. The episode with Dr. Dispenza has changed my life. I will be heading in for my second craniotomy in a couple of weeks, and hearing everyone's story, including Maria's, has helped me ease into a better and calmer mindset. So sweet. Well, we wish her luck with that second operation. And friends, continue to share on Apple Podcasts if you can. It really helps us. In the meantime, if you haven't hit subscribe here on YouTube, this is what we do here every single day. Join us. You'll get little notifications so you don't miss a great episode. MariaMenounos.com. We have the cheat sheets for every episode, the life hacks blog. So you'll go in there, you'll see this episode and everything you need to know will be in there so that you can just listen to these episodes with ease and do whatever it is you're doing right now, walking, hiking, working, but we'll have all of that information in the life hacks blogs on the website. Plus, if you want to know anything about, fashion wise, what I'm loving, skincare and all that, there's a shop page with only the things that I love there. So that is it for us today. I'm glad to be back with you guys. Be nice people, make good choices, and be present.